Ladies and gentlemen of the American television viewing audience, my first guest tonight has served as mayor of San Antonio, Texas, and Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Now he's running for president. Please welcome back to The Late Show, Julián Castro.
Thanks for having me. Good to be back.
Now, you were mayor of San Antonio and Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Would you rather be called like Mr. Mayor or Mr. Secretary? Because you get to keep those for the rest of your life, right?
Probably just Julián.
Julián?
Yeah, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Jay? Now,
that's what my brother calls me.
Last time you were on here with your brother, Joaquin.
We were here, yeah.
Yeah. Together, you had only formed an exploratory committee. So obviously not running for president. And I asked you if you're running for president, you're like, I don't know. But now, are you willing to fess up that you're actually running for president?
Stephen, I wanted to come today and let you in on a little secret. I am running for president.
Well, that
is... And I don't have my brother here to kick me around this time.
A little late, but I'll take it. Now, how has the road been so far? What's it like to have been out there, out in the hustings, trying to get the people's votes?
You know, it's going pretty well now. It was a little bit rough at the beginning. In fact, I remember the first trip that we took to Iowa. Mm-hmm. It was the first community meeting that I was doing in this little town outside Des Moines in a community center. And we started the meeting, maybe about 15 people there. 20 seconds after I start speaking to try and explain to them what I'm about, the lights go off in the whole building. I'm like, I hope this is not a metaphor for the rest of my campaign. That it's never going to get started. The lights go out.
Well, the New York Times said that the first debate that you were in was Castro's big night, okay? And part of the reason is that you just loaded up your guns and just jack-slapped Beto O'Rourke into next week. Did you go in there going, I got a target on this guy, I'm going to take him down? Was that the plan? Be honest.
No, it was to stand up on that policy on immigration. As you know, I've been very vocal about immigration.
Sure.
It's something that's personal to me.
But you specifically said, you, Congressman, voted against this thing that I want. So you had to have a little bit of a plan who might be the target of the attack.
I had done my homework. As I pointed out that night. I had done my homework.
Let me ask you about your homework.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about your homework because we all did our homework after that conversation because we didn't necessarily know what you were talking about. Because now Section 1325 of the U.S. Legal Code has never been more popular. What is it and why do you want to change it?
So this is basically the law that criminalizes somebody coming across the border. It's been around since 1929, but until about 2004, it was really not used. Mm-hmm. These things were treated as a civil matter. This law is what has allowed the Trump administration to incarcerate migrant parents and then separate them from their little children.
This is one of the things that led to the crisis, is that we have a zero tolerance policy.
He's basically weaponized this particular law to incarcerate these parents, separate them from their children. And my point that night was, look, if we want to make lasting change and guarantee that no future administration can separate families like this, we need to go back to the way that we used to handle it in the, during the Reagan years, the Clinton years, part of the Bush years, and just treat it as a civil matter. There's still accountability when somebody crosses the border. They're still subject to court proceedings. But you get rid of this law that allows the administration to separate parents and children. That's what I want to do. That's my vision.
You might be able to answer this question for me. I hear sort of conflicting answers from various sides of the aisle on this one. When Donald Trump took office, border crossings were at a 40-year low. Why now are we in what people from both sides have described as a terrible humanitarian crisis on the border with more people coming over than before? Why has that changed?
It's a great question. I mean, part of that is circumstances in Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala. If you think about it, I mean, this is more evidence that this president has failed on immigration, right? He came in saying that if we were cruel enough to separate little children from their parents, that would deter more Central American families from coming. And instead, more people are coming now than when he started as president. So his cruelty has failed. And I think that we need to go in the direction of exercising common sense and compassion instead of cruelty.
speaking of cruelty or bad behavior, the news has been consumed, say, the last 8 or 9 days about Donald Trump having tweeted and then supported in speeches and other statements the go back, where you came from, to the group called the Squad, those 4 new congresswomen there. Do you believe that his statements are racist and that he is a racist?
I do. Yeah, I think he's given us enough evidence already. I mean, like a lot of people, I just say, like a lot of people, I'm not anxious to call somebody a racist or to believe that somebody has those kinds of intentions. I think you have to be very careful before you use that label. At the same time, I mean, how many times does this guy have to show us over and over and over again by his actions, the way that he started his campaign, those comments that he made about that Mexican-American judge, the policies that he's put in place, these comments about go back to where you came from. I mean, he's shown us over and over again that he has a dark heart when it comes to these issues. And I'll tell you, I mean, this guy is the biggest identity politician that we have seen in the last 50 years. He engages in racial priming, trying to separate people into their camps. But I believe that there are enough people, whether they're white, black, Latino, Asian American, Native American, rich, poor, wherever they're from, that actually share common values of basic respect for each other, of faith, of belief in this country, of hard work, of family. Those things bring us together, no matter our background, much more strongly than his division or his hatred can separate us. I'm betting on that. I think we're going to beat him with that.
Now, tomorrow morning, Mueller appears before the House Intel Committee, and here we go. Here's you, and there's your brother Joaquin right there. Your brother Joaquin is on the Intel Committee. He gets to ask Mueller questions.
He is.
Have you thought about doing like a Parent Trap thing with him and swapping out?
know.
What would you want to ask Robert Mueller?
It's only a couple of hours to D.C. from here.
Yeah, exactly.
I could be there by the morning.
What would your question be?
I think, I want to know why he did not bring charges against the president. Why did he not recommend charges against this president? Mm-hmm. He lists 10 different instances where the president obstructed or attempted to obstruct justice. And I think he has suggested perhaps that's because of the Department of Justice guidelines that you're not supposed to indict a sitting president. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to get more clarity on that, because basically what you have really is a president who, but for the fact that he's in that Oval Office, would be under indictment right now.
He's an unindicted co-conspirator in the
campaign finance violations. Yeah.
And Michael Cohen.
That's right. So. That's right. That's right. So I'd like to ask about that.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We'll be watching you. Are you on Tuesday or Wednesday?
I'm on Wednesday, the second night, July 31st.
Who are you going after this time?
Can't tell you that. Can't tell you that.
They'll have their guard up? All right.
Good
luck.
See you.
Secretary Julián Castro, everybody. We'll be right back.